All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going way up north to Manitouwadge, Ontario.
Ooh, Manitouwadge.
You know it.
I do, yeah. It's a fascinating little town. A real hidden gem.
That's what we're hoping to uncover today, right? Some of those hidden gems. We've got a couple of stories here, two threads that seem totally separate at first.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah,
I love when we start with those seemingly unrelated threads.
right.
Makes you wonder how it's all going to connect.
It's going to connect, I promise you that. Okay, so thread number one, Mervin Hill, local legend, apparently.
Ah, the heart and soul of small town life, right? Those unsung heroes that really make things happen.
Exactly. And Mervin, he was involved in just about everything, it seems. The fire department, chamber of commerce, you name it.
A true pillar of the community.
Oh, yeah. But here's where it gets interesting. This guy, Mervin, he was instrumental in getting Highway 614 upgraded.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, you might think, okay, it's just a road.
Right.
But for Manitouwadge, it was a lifeline.
Absolutely. Especially in those more rural areas, reliable infrastructure is so crucial. It's about connecting people, businesses, accessing essential services.
And Mervin got that. He fought hard to get funding for that highway, knowing how much it would help the town, the economy, the lives of the people who live there.
He really speaks to his vision, his dedication to his community, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And speaking of dedication,
Mm.
this man also recognized how crucial ambulance services are, especially in a town like Manitouwadge, where, getting to a hospital quickly isn't always easy.
Right. Access to healthcare can be a real challenge in remote areas.
Exactly. So what does he do? He rallies for provincial funding to make sure those ambulance services were top-notch.
Imagine the lives saved, the families that were kept whole because of that. That's a legacy right there.
Oh, yeah. And, the community recognized all his efforts. Mervin, he received the Citizen of the Year Award and even the Ontario Bicentennial Medal.
Wow, those aren't given out lightly.
Nope. Shows how much he was respected, how much people appreciated what he did.
He wasn't just talking about community, he was living it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this little detail in the source material about the fire department, kind of interesting. A lot of the firefighters were former Boy Scouts.
That's a fascinating connection. I wonder if there's a culture of service, being passed down through the generations there.
Maybe. You start with the Scouts, then end up as a firefighter, protecting your community.
Mm,
Kind of a beautiful cycle.
I like that. A beautiful cycle.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay, now let's switch gears for a minute. Meet Evan Hill, 75 years old, still going strong.
75. Wow.
Yep. And then he's an artist, works with wood, makes these incredible pieces like bowls, candlestick holders, cheese boards.
Oh, I love that. Handmade items, there's just something special about them.
Yeah. Especially in this day and age where everything's mass-produced.
Exactly. It's like he's taking these natural materials, the rosewood, the pine, and transforming them into something both beautiful and useful.
You can just imagine the scent of that wood in his workshop.
It's almost like he's creating heirlooms. Pieces that'll be passed down through families for generations.
Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. The source material, it hints at a possible connection between our two stories.
Mm.
And it all revolves around the local legion.
To a legion. Okay, now legions, they often bear the names of people who have made significant contributions to their communities, maybe served in the military. Often local heroes, you could say.
Could there be a link between Evan Hill and the legion?
Now that's an intriguing thought.
What if the legion is named after him?
Well, considering the kind of respect both Mervin and Evan seem to have in the community, it wouldn't surprise me.
It'd be a pretty amazing way to honor someone, wouldn't it? Having the legion named after you.
Absolutely. It's like their legacy lives on in the very heart of the community.
Okay, but we need more information here. The source mentions a news clipping from The Echo, the local paper, owned by the Sherman family. That might be the key.
Oh, the local paper. Those are gold mines of information.
Yeah, it's like we're on a little treasure hunt now.
I love it. The Echo. What secrets will it reveal?
So we've got Mervin, the guy who pushed for better roads and ambulance services.
A true champion for his town.
And then Evan creating these beautiful, lasting pieces out of wood,
And maybe even honored by the Legion.
Maybe. But before we get too carried away with that Legion mystery,
Right.
it's kind of cool to step back and think about how different these two guys are.
You mean in how they contributed to the community?
Yeah, like Mervin's out there fighting for funding, dealing with all that stuff.
And Evan's quietly working away in his workshop.
Right. But they both made Manitouwadge a better place in their own way.
It really challenges our idea of what a hero is, doesn't it?
It's not always the big flashy stuff.
Exactly. Sometimes it's the everyday actions, the quiet dedication that makes the biggest difference.
Mervin pushing for those essential services, Evan creating these beautiful, objects.
It's like they each added their own unique thread to the fabric of the town.
Ooh, I like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, it's like a tapestry, right? Some threads are bolder, more visible, but they all contribute to the overall strength and beauty.
It makes you wonder if their paths ever crossed,
I know, I know. Like, did Mervin ever buy one of Evan's pieces? Did they ever chat at the Legion?
Right. And neither of them knowing that years later we'd be sitting here talking about them.
It's kind of wild when you think about it.
It is. And, it all started with these two seemingly unrelated stories. It makes you realize how many cool stories are hidden all around us.
Exactly. We're surrounded by history, by these amazing connections, but we often don't even notice.
It's like a call to be more curious.
Absolutely. Ask questions, look a little deeper, you never know what you'll find.
And those hidden gems, they could be right in our own families, our own communities.
Oh, yeah. We all have stories, legacies that are just waiting to be uncovered.
It's like we're all living in this giant mystery novel.
And those local newspapers like the Echo, they're like little time capsules preserving those stories.
Speaking of the Echo, I'm still dying to see that news clipping. The
Oh,
one that might tell us who the Legion is named after.
me too.
It feels like the missing piece of the puzzle.
I know. What do you think we'll find in that article?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe some details about the Legion's founding.
Right. And why they chose that name.
Maybe even a quote from Evan himself, about what it meant to him.
Can you imagine reading his words from all those years ago?
It'd be like having a direct connection to the past
Like holding a piece of history in your hands.
and a reminder that even in a small town like Manitouwadge, there are these amazing stories, these incredible people
Who leave behind a legacy that lasts.
like Mervin with those roads and the ambulance services. He really helped shape the future of the town.
And Evan, his artwork, it'll be enjoyed for generations to come.
Both of them, they left the world a little better than they found it.
And isn't that something we should all aspire to?
Absolutely. No matter what our big contribution might be.
Exactly. It's about living with purpose, making a positive impact.
And who knows, maybe someday someone will do a deep dive into our lives.
Ooh, that's a thought.
It is, to think that we're all part of this bigger story, this interconnected web.
That's one of the beautiful things about being human, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, as we keep digging into Manitouwadge, let's keep that in mind, that sense of connection.
To each other, to the past.
Right. Let's see if we can find those missing puzzle pieces and learn a little more about the tapestry of life that ties us all together. This whole Manitouwadge thing, it's really become its own little adventure.
It has, hasn't it?
Started with these two totally separate stories, and now we're trying to figure out if there's a connection through the Legion.
Mervin, the advocate, Evan, the artist.
Right. Makes you think, how much we miss just going about our daily lives.
Oh, absolutely. We get caught up in the big stuff, the headlines.
But it's the stories of people like Mervin and Evan that really make a community what it is.
They're the threads that hold the fabric together.
Exactly. And even if we don't find out for sure if the Legion's named after Evan, this whole process has been pretty eye-opening.
It has. Makes you think about all the different ways people contribute, right?
Yeah, it's not always about being in the spotlight.
Sometimes it's the quiet things, the stuff we do day after day that makes a difference.
Like Mervin working on those services the town needed.
And Evan creating beauty.
Yeah, like those pieces he made, they'll probably be around for years.
They will, passed down through families, becoming part of the town's story.
And Mervin, his work on that highway, the ambulances, that impacted so many people's lives.
It did. Made things safer, opened up opportunities, connected people.
It's like their contributions, even though they were so different, they kind of weave together.
They do, don't they? It's like we're all part of this bigger picture.
And we all have a chance to add our own little piece to it, right?
We do. Through our work, our passions, just by living our lives.
Who knows? Maybe someone will do a deep dive into our stories someday.
That's a wild thought.
It is. Makes you realize that even our ordinary lives are part of something bigger.
Something special. Connected to everyone and everything.
So as we wrap up this Manitouwadge deep dive, let's take that with us.
That sense of connection, that wonder.
Look for those hidden stories around us, the everyday heroes.
And remember, even in the smallest towns, there's always something amazing waiting to be discovered.
Thanks for joining us.